At Parker, our purpose is simple. We want to make the world a better place by working more efficiently, by using more sustainable practices, by developing better technologies. We keep moving forward. With each new idea, innovation, and partnership, we're one step closer to fulfilling our purpose every single day. To find out more, visit parker.com/purpose. Parker, engineering your success.
You have one unheard message.
Hi, I was calling Current, the influencer marketing platform, but I think I just got redirected to a bunch of people listening to a podcast. Well, anyways, I was calling Current because I was told they could help get my brand set up on TikTok Shop and even build out an affiliate program of content creators promoting my brand. And even have those content creators go on live streams and promote my product there. Wow, I could really use Current. I also heard that the brands they work with are making millions in sales. I guess I'll just go to their website at current.tech.
Hashtag no music, no intro. I know on Twitter, Ryan tried to warn the people, trying to warn the masses we had something coming. And LLC Twitter, we out here, baby. Like, let's go. Like, we have a financial advisor, a relative of Ryan's, Mr. Jerel Butler, hopping on the hashtag Saints Twitter podcast. I feel like this episode, I'm going to learn a shitload myself. Like, I am excited about this. We're going to talk about LSC Twitter. We're going to talk about the stock market. So first and foremost, Mr. Butler, thank you for coming on the show. Tell the listeners, like, your credentials. Like, you know, why are they listening to you?
Sure. So thank you, man. Thank you for having me on the pod. Very, very excited about this. My name is Jerel Butler. I am a certified financial planner from New Orleans. Ryan is actually a close cousin of mine. So very, very excited to be here, man. I own a financial planning firm. It's called Millennial Financial Solutions, where we primarily work with people of color, millennials, as well as self-employed individuals, and making sure that their financial management goals are in line with, you know, the things that they want to do. So focus a lot of my time on that. I also have a new lounge that will be opening soon in New Orleans called Crave Lounge. So basically, I'm actually more of a serial entrepreneur at this point. Financial planning is my background. Finance is my background. But you know, I'm a pretty well-rounded person. Former college athlete as well. Ran track at Southeastern Louisiana University. So yeah, man, just excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you, man. Like I was telling you before we got on, I've been wanting to get you on, just kind of waiting on the right time. I could vouch for you, like as far as your acumen as a financial dude. Like I said, like you saved my ass like a couple times as far as like taxes. I ain't gonna talk about the shit I done got into, but he just saved my ass with taxes. Like he knows the game from top to bottom. Like any question you got, he knows it, and if he don't know it, he'll tell you he don't know it, but he gonna have an answer for you real quick. But I haven't even run to the point where he didn't know. Like if I got a question, Jerel got the answer. You young cat, like are you 30 yet? You made 30, right? 31?
Yeah, I'm 31.
At 31, you're a young cat, but like all my life, well, ever since I've known him since he was a baby, like literally a baby, always been just super smart, super sharp, always ahead of his class. So you know, I urge anybody. You know, I don't know how you looking business wise, if you're looking for clients or not, but if you're in that market, like definitely go holler at Millennial Financial Solutions and just get in touch with him, because man, he'll help you out with all kind of stuff. But I just wanted to kick it off, bro. Like how you doing with all this, man? Like COVID-19, the pandemic, you know, businesses being shut down, businesses being, kind of, it's just a big shake to the market. Everybody's just trying to figure out what to do, how to stay afloat. PPE loans, small business administration loan. I don't know what's going on, bro. Like, so how has business been for you through all these times?
Man, you know what? It's really, really crazy because when you think about it, all of this pandemic stuff for us in America really kind of popped off about a year ago when you like really think about it, man. And honestly, bro, like my company has grown so much in the past year. And I can attest to really, a couple of things. One, being in the right type of field, right? Being in the financial services industry in these times, like people are looking at you for guidance and for expertise on how to navigate through things like this, right? So it's really reaffirmed for me that I'm in the right field, that I'm impacting others. And then just from a growth perspective, man, like we've been able to just be in position to really continue to grow and not really go backwards, man. Like this has been a game changing year professionally for me, and I know it's weird to kind of say that, but
yeah.
like I just kind of feel like my company was in the right place at the right time, and our services really really has been a much needed asset to help people figure out how to navigate this whole thing, man. Because it's been crazy. Like, kind of like your point, man. You have businesses that have not opened up since the pandemic. Just to kind of draw some contrast, man. You have businesses that are struggling, but then on the flip side, you have businesses that have quadrupled their revenue. So how do you kind of make sense of all that?
Jeff Bezos,
Luckily,
what's up?
Yeah, man. Luckily, I feel like I was on the front end of the pandemic and like understanding like where the money was going, right? And honestly, I could kind of go back to Hurricane Katrina, and I remember, how it was for me being 16 years old at the time, and trying to navigate through Hurricane Katrina and like that aftermath. And what I learned was, man, it was people, during Katrina that made a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you were in the right type of industry, whether it was construction or government contracts, things like that. But I mean, I was a little bit too young to like, take advantage of all that stuff. But
right.
I always told myself, man, like the next big thing that kind of happens to us from a wide ranging impact perspective, like I need to kind of be on the forefront of everything that's kind of going on so I can be able to pass this information back to our people.
That's so I'm thinking to myself, you brought up a good point, because I am very quick to admit as a person of like what I don't know. Stock market, I understand it conceptually, I get it. But even then, like I probably would admit, like I didn't really understand it until my late 20s, and now almost 33. And if we think about it, and I can't speak for everyone, but I can just speak for I think generationally, as African Americans, it's hard for us to kind of understand that industry, because a lot of our families and our parents, grandparents, like that's not how they were brought up.
Right.
My grandma, great grandmother were, clean houses of white folks, to get, as their profession. And so growing up, it's kind of, it was never like taught to you, like the stock market and investments and stuff like that. But to see someone like you, young Black man, making it, it's important to see that, because I feel like we as a people also deserve a place at the table in that industry. And with that said, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about what everyone's been talking about recently. The last couple of weeks, what's happening with the stock market, with the whole
Yeah, man. Last week honestly was a game changer for the stock market in a lot of different ways, right? And when I look at the state of things right now, obviously us being in the pandemic, it had a lot to do with what happened with GameStop, right? So let's just first kind of like, talk overall, right? And like kind of understand where we are as a culture right now as it pertains to the stock market, right? So pandemic happens, in March, most cities at this time are shut down. We're in quarantine. Everybody's bored. It's all type of scams going on. It's join
Forex.
this circle and Forex this and Forex that. So obviously people are, have like time to kind of spend some of their time and energy, learning new things, right? I saw a lot of trainings and video sessions and all that type of stuff pop up over the year on, hey, how to trade options and how to trade this and how to trade that. And it's exciting from the financial advisor perspective to see so many of us actually take interest now in the stock market. And I don't know if that was because we actually had time to, or some people were just balling over something. I don't know, but basically like this has kind of been brewing for a while as far as like when you think of like black finance, right?
Yeah.
And it's a trend that we've like kind of seen. Okay, more people are like talking about investing, even if they don't know what they're doing, they're talking about it, right? So fast forward to GameStop, right? So basically, there's a Reddit board, I believe it's called Wall Street Bets.
Mhm.
And, for all we know, this could be a bunch of knucklehead kids from the suburbs who are like nerdy and just, kind of like talk about this stuff all day. I don't know who exactly is like a part of that Reddit board, but they started back in maybe November a campaign to increase the GameStop price, right? It just kind of more so started out, I think, of more like, hey, let's see if like we could just, boost the price up and get Google people to join us.
Right.
So part of the rationale with that is that they wanted to basically compete against some of these hedge funds, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't know what a hedge fund is simply a group of investors who give money to this fund.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. Let's be clear. We're like talking millions of dollars at this point. Per investor, let's say, and they entrust this fund and the fund manager to grow their investments as much as they can, right? So a lot of hedge funds are pretty risky in terms of like, hey, they don't invest like traditional mutual funds and index funds. Like they're looking for big swings, like they're looking for like big wins, right?
Yeah.
So some of the analysis that a particular hedge fund did, I believe it was Melvin Capital, they decided that they wanted stock. GameStop. Sorry. So,
Yeah.
so what short sell is, let's just kind of talk about all of the different things you can do in the stock market, right? The first thing is, most people buy stocks, right? So
Right.
you're buying a share of a company, right? You're buying
Right.
a piece of ownership into a company. Like that's the first basic thing.
Right.
You can also sell stocks, right? So if you have possession of a stock, you can sell it at a certain price or with the market price, or if someone wants to buy it at a particular price, right?
Right.
Then there are things such as options, right? So which is simply saying you have the option to buy or sell a stock. So you may not necessarily own the stock, but you may enter into a contract to buy a stock at a certain price, right? And most people have been kind of learning more about the
Bro,
options market.
can you to pull a Michael Scott? Can you explain an option to me like I'm 5 years old?
Sure, absolutely. So again, the option is the right to buy or sell a stock, right? So for example, let's look at Apple stock, right? If I believe fundamentally that over the next couple of months, Apple stock price is going to go up, I'm going to buy what's called a call option, right? Call means that you believe that the company is fundamentally better than what it's priced at right now. So you want to be locked in to purchase this stock at the price it is now. And then once it grows over the next few months, you can sell it at the new price and make a profit without actually ever buying the stock, right?
Gotcha.
So that's a pretty popular play when it comes to options. The other um, the other decision you can make as it pertains to options is, let's say you think the price of Apple stock is going to drop in, let's say, 6 months, right? Like you're pessimistic on it. You think Apple is overrated. I got an Android, I'm balling, fuck Apple. And
Oh,
you
that's
want to say,
Ryan.
hey, look, I think Apple's going to drop. So then you would do what's called the put option. And the put option simply means, hey, I think that this price is going to drop over time, but I want to be able to sell this stock at the current price, right? So if you
Yeah.
think so let's say Apple right now is currently 130, right? And you think it's going to drop to $100, you want to get a put option because, hey, even if the price drops to $100, like like once you get the stock, whoever buys your contract has to purchase it at that original $130
130.
price.
And you get
So
the
you actually
$30
make money,
profit.
right?
Right.
You actually make a $30 profit. So that's what people who don't necessarily believe in a current stock price for the company, they make money that way. All right. So now let's talk about short selling, right? So short selling is when a investor borrows a stock from the brokerage, right? So when I say brokerage, these are the companies that allow you to like make trades, right? So your Robin Hoods, your TD Ameritrades, your Charles
Yeah.
Schwab's, etc., Fidelities, those are considered brokers, right? You can actually borrow a stock from the broker and then immediately sell it to get money, right? So people will short sell if they think a stock price will drop. It's very, very similar to having a put option. The main difference is you actually have the stock, right? You have
Yeah.
control of the stock, and then
Right.
you immediately sell it to get money, right? So basically, people who will short sell stocks, what they're betting on is saying, hey, in GameStop's example, I think their price was like $12 or $14 or something like that a few months ago, right? Let's say, hey, this hedge fund thinks that GameStop's price is going to drop from $14 to $7. So I'm going to short sell it. I'm going to borrow the stock from the brokerage. I'm going to sell it at the current price, which is $14. And then, later on, you have to return that stock to the broker, right? But if the price drops and you can go into the market and get it at $7, okay, bam, I just purchased that stock for $7. I'm going to give it back to the broker. I still made a profit because the price dropped, right? Now, what happened in all actuality with GameStop was these traders on the Reddit board actually gained a lot of momentum and were able to continue to purchase GameStop. And what happens is when you have a high volume of a certain stock, it's increasing the stock price value, right? So next thing you know, the price is doing the opposite of what the hedge fund managers thought it would do. And then word got back to Twitter, to LLC Twitter and Facebook and all that type of stuff. And next thing you know, everybody started piling in and said, hey, we're like trying to run this price up. So essentially what happened was GameStop got up to like $400 and something. And guess who has to go purchase it at $400 and something? The hedge funds that shorted it, right? So instead of them making money on a company like GameStop, now they have to go out and purchase these GameStop shares at like 20 times what they thought the company was worth, right? So now these hedge funds losing billions of dollars at the hands of kids who are who just wanted to run the market up.
Right. I wanted to stop you right there. It's like we're talking about it as an individual share, but these hedge funds, like to even get in the hedge fund, you got to come with like $500,000. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
You talking about millions and millions of dollars worth of shares that they going in with this, thinking that they could profit off of it. But when those shares are being bid up like that, like their losses could be pretty much infinite. Like there's
unlimited.
It's unlimited because just mathematically, it could go up. Who knows? Like, of course, it's going to stop at some point, but they don't know when it's going to stop. It went from $10, $11 to $400 something. Like I was looking at that, I was like, I don't game the stock market, but I watch it a lot. I'm like, I've never seen nothing like this in my life. I've never seen this.
It was like crazy because like you said, right? Like you made a really good point. Short selling has the potential for unlimited losses, right? Because like you said, like a stock price theoretically could go to infinity.
Right.
There isn't like a stopping point, so it is very risky to do a short sell. That's probably like one of the riskiest investments in the stock market is to short sell a stock for that very reason, right? If you do a call option and let's say like the price doesn't go up, like the only money you lose is the money you paid to buy that option. That's it. Like it's a limited loss, so you may not hit on one of the options that you purchased, but hey, you only lose the money you put in. But in a event like short selling, the losses could be unlimited. So what happened was the retail investors, which retail investors just mean regular people like you and me, right?
Yeah.
The retail investors ran the price up so much with GameStop that the hedge funds had to liquidate their position, meaning they had to claim their loss because they were going to keep losing money. And even them liquidating their losses, getting out of their short sell positions, that actually pushed the stock price up more. So it was wild, bro. So you had a lot of people mad,
bro,
and
that's
honestly,
crazy.
yeah. So it was like crazy because now you have like the big wigs, right? Like the people who are losing these millions and billions of dollars, they're making calls to the SEC, like, hey, y'all got to put a stop to this. So, it's like basically like you playing a game, like we're like playing Madden and somebody down 28-0 and somebody unplugged the game. Like that's basically what they did last week to like stop people from trading GameStop, because like people were going to keep trading.
So here's my question to you is, like, the stock market has no problem being the Wild Wild West, and there's no rules for the most part. People kind of do what they want in the stock market, And it was just super interesting. And this is just me being Joe Blow, right? Just a regular guy. But like as soon as these hedge fund companies, like they getting hit by millions and billions of dollars, they're like, whoa. That's not fair. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you see their perspective, or it's like, yo, this is the game's the game. Like, this is what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is I feel like they should have let everything keep going because honestly, man, it's a free market, and that's like that's what the whole premise of the stock market is capitalism, free market.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get mad if you're on the losing side of the coin now.
Come on, man. There we go.
Like, yeah, it sucks, but I mean, it only sucks because you're losing money now. Normally the hedge funds are on the other side of that coin. So I thought they made the wrong decision, especially Robinhood, right? Because Robinhood built their platform on simplicity and bringing a sense of easy entry to novice investors, right? So you're gonna now tell them that you can't trade when the whole point of you creating Robinhood was to let regular people trade. So
not only that you can't trade, like you could sell your GameStop, but you can't buy anymore.
Right.
Like that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, yeah, man. And I mean, like that's like unprecedented, and that's why Robinhood is going to get some heavy sanctions, man. Because
like, how can you you call yourself Robinhood? Like, yo, like, do you realize what your name is? Like,
right. You know what? I never thought about that until you just said it. I just learned something new today.
That's crazy. It's like reverse Robinhood. It's like
right,
it's really like no, Robinhood.
We not stealing from the rich no more. Like we shut it off. We done.
Right.
We done.
It's like hood Robin now. It's not Robinhood. Like they over there hood Robin. I mean, it was horrible. But honestly, man, like that like at that level is kind of above retail investors like ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
Because now like you have different agencies involved, and like the ironic part is that some of those same hedge funds that shorted on GameStop and went the wrong way, hey, some of those are actual investors in Robinhood.
Right.
So it's all like tied together, man. Like, it's like, okay, Robinhood is supposed to let the people do what they want. But if their main investor is telling them, look, y'all got to shut it down because we losing money,
they
it's
gonna
like,
shut it down.
Yeah, it's like, you damn if you do, you damn if you don't, right? So I think Robinhood was definitely in a precarious position, but I mean, I feel like that's their problem. They should let the people trade.
Right.
So yeah, man. But I mean, so basically that Reddit board, they had a list of stocks that were heavily shorted, and GameStop was one of them. AMC was another. Express was another. So basically, the same thing that happened with GameStop was going to happen with AMC and every other stock that was on that list. So that's why you started seeing AMC quadruple their stock price as well. And then that's when the SEC stepped in and try to over-regulate, which is going to cause some major problems now because, like you said, man, I mean,
that's unprecedented, man. Like
I
don't know anything about the stock market, but like I'm like what? Like how does this make sense?
Crazy, man. It was a crazy week, but so I'm looking at this two ways, right? I'm looking at it from a certified financial planner perspective, like from my professional lens. Like I necessarily wouldn't advise my clients to hurry up and get into these what they're calling meme stocks, right? So the meme stocks are basically like the GameStops, the AMCs, etc. Like they're bad companies, right? Like at the end of the day, they're bad companies. Like GameStop is a damn brick and mortar game store in 2021. Like nobody's going into GameStop and getting games. Two, AMC, like obviously they're like getting killed by the pandemic, and most movies are going digital. You can watch them at home. So it's like, these are like fundamentally, these aren't great companies, and that's why their stock prices are pretty low, right? So fundamentally, like, I'm more of a long-term passive investor. So I advise my clients, hey, based on your goals, we're playing the long game. Like, you don't need to keep jumping into like these like short plays. Like, let's continue to make 10, 15, 20% a year and be comfortable. But the other side of that is I'm really excited about the enthusiasm that I'm seeing from everybody who look like me as it pertains to the stock market, man. So and then I mean, like, hey, like, I mean, I know people that came up thousands and tens of thousands of dollars off of these trades. Like, I have a classmate, he made $250,000 in one day off of that GameStop stock. Crazy, bro.
Crazy. Could you imagine just getting 25K?
No, you said
$250,000. 250,000. But Robinhood put the restrictions on and limited how much he could actually profit from. So then when the stock price went down, he couldn't like sell. So it was all messed up. It was all jacked up.
Bro, like, there gotta be some lawsuits behind this shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wait, so he wasn't able to get his $250,000 because Robinhood put.
Yeah, so Robinhood did what's called a margin requirement, right? And basically, what margin is like leverage, like meaning that the brokerage is going to basically let you kind of over leverage and over trade your account and then get the money back later, right? So basically, like, the brokerage will let you borrow funds so you can trade, right? So normally, like, the margin requirements are a little bit lower. So for example, like, they'll say, hey, if you have 10,000 in your account, we'll give you like another 5,000 that you could use to like trade with. And if you make a profit, you just give us like a percentage of that, right? So what they did, they raised the margin requirement. So basically it was like, if like you have $10,000 that you originally invested, that's all that you could withdraw right now. Instead of like the entire 250. So it was some yeah, bro. So he was heated. He was pissed. He was trying to withdraw when the stock price was like $400 and Robinhood wouldn't let him because he didn't have enough original investment in his account.
That's wild.
That is wild, man. That's wild, man. Dog.
So
like, you ain't hear about stuff like that on the news. Like, that's crazy, bro.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I would have been pissed. I personally didn't hop in. But man, it was just wild to watch. Like, because I mean, like, I saw regular people make thousands of dollars. And hey, I'm all like for robbing the rich to give to the common person. So that aspect, I'm like, look, man, I'm not feeling sorry for them hedge fund people. Like, that's on them,
Right. And that's the risky game they play. They are, Bruce Arians, Tampa Bucks, risking no biscuit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they going for it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're like Jameson, Tampa Bay. They're like going for the jugular, like 5,000 yards, 30,
30, baby.
I'll get a touchdown though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. So, but yeah, man. So, but what we realized was during the pandemic, like, there's going to be a big time shift in how people navigate toward investing, right? It's no longer just about pure fundamentals. Like, hey, this is a really good company. Like, I really believe in this company, etc.
Yeah.
It's mainly off of hype right now and like popularity. And this new wave of investors that Robinhood has kind of created is definitely going to cause some type of disruption that, people are going to have to adjust to. Like, there's going to be companies that are going to have super high stock prices and like doing really well financially that are really shit.
They're really shit fundamentally. Yeah.
Right. So that's what, would be very interesting to see is how much does it shift, right? Because now we've seen that the common person can move the market with GameStop.
Right. That's so fascinating, bro. That's so fascinating because, like, a lot of people they say like, the stock market is just like just another casino. But if it moves more in that direction, it's really gonna be a casino. You know what I'm saying? It's really gonna be like, it's just like betting on a
Yep.
football game because there's the whole, Warren Buffett, look at who's running the company, look at the managers, make sure the fundamentals are sound and all that stuff. That goes out the window. Now it's like if we could start a little group, get 20, 30,000, 300,000 people in this little group and just dump money into it, we could
Right.
make the game shake because it creates like a loop, like a loop where, okay, we push the stock, 50%. So that 50%, other people hear about it outside our group and they be like, oh, this thing is going up. Let me get in. So
Yep.
it's kind of like an ongoing thing that just doesn't stop. And then, the smart people cash out when it's at the top.
Right.
And, of course, there's always going to be losers, which I always try to tell people.
Yep.
I'm not an advisor, but people that ask me about stocks, I'm like, look, man, like they are winners. Don't get me wrong, they are winners, but there's usually more losers than winners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And to that like point, look, it's always going to be winners and losers on each side of a trade, whether
Yeah.
you're in forex or the stock market or options. Like it's always going to be one side wins that trade, one side loses. And to your point about gambling, yeah, I would say currently the stock market is more of an educated guess, right?
Yes.
Like you have a lot more information to make educated decisions when it comes to investing. But to your point, man, I mean, basically GameStop is what you would call a pump and dump, right?
Right.
So a pump and dump is essentially you take a stock, get a bunch of people to pour money into it, watch the stock price rise, and then you take the money out, profit off of it, and the price goes back down. But to your point, again, someone loses because someone
Yeah.
is buying at the top of that market, and
Yeah.
then by the time they're ready to sell, the stock price is back down to shits. So to that like point, man, there's a show called Billions, and I'm not sure like who all really pays attention to what's going on in Billions, but there's an episode called The Short Squeeze. It's like episode 4, season 1, I believe. It's literally the exact same thing that happened with GameStop,
Wow.
and it's like explained in that type of episode, man. I love Billions. It's a little bit technical, I won't lie.
Oh, I gotta check
It's
that
a
out, man.
yeah,
It,
it's on Showtime.
Showtime is one of not that I'm giving him any praise, but it's one of Nick's favorite shows.
Oh, Nick Underhill. Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so yeah, man, like billions, has a lot of similar outcomes to what we've seen happen with GameStop. Like it's it'll probably be more of a better visual representation of what happened. But yeah, man, like I think it's gonna be a changing of the guard because especially for the people who actually made money. I mean,
Yeah.
they're gonna be pushing this. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to kind of see how it's regulated moving forward.
That
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's that was my question to you is that if there's going to be this shift, and we've already seen like the SEC kind of putting clamps down on this, like what could that mean, like in terms of regulations, in terms of like stock? Because at the end of the day, like billionaires, millionaires, they became billionaires and millionaires because they're kind of cheap. They hate losing money, right? And they're not going to want to see their money just evaporate and go away. So what are some things that if this kind of shift of the landscape happens that the SEC might put in place that may prevent the regular man, regular woman from making a come up in the stock market like we saw like these last couple of weeks?
Honestly, man, I really don't know because either way you go, it's going to be a problem, right? Because if they put too much regulations on, then it's going to be unfair to the retail investors because they're like, look,
Yeah.
you only got like you guys only made these regulations because regular people are winning, So it's like the SEC has to be real careful with how much they regulate because part of the whole allure of the stock market is, hey, it's a free market, it's capitalism. Like you can invest in what you want, but you can't limit that. So it'll be really interesting to kind of see what comes out of this. I think something to come out of it. I just don't know what. So I'm like just as curious as you guys to kind of see what happens.
I mean, there'll definitely be some Senate hearings. I know Janet Yellen, she's the new Treasury Secretary. She wants to, dig into this. Elizabeth Warren put out a statement. So there's gonna be some people on Capitol Hill, giving testimony and shit like that. Because, I mean, let's keep it honest. The Wall Street, them billionaires, them big millionaires and multi-billionaires, they got friends in DC. So to just assume that like Congress looking out for you and all that stuff, that's just not factual. Like,
oh yeah.
They put a lot of those rules get put in place to keep the big dudes big. You know what I'm saying? The big banks, too big to fail, like 2008 and all that stuff. Those rules get put in place sometimes to keep the big dogs big and remain big and keep the little guy from getting in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you hit the nail on the head. A lot of these bigger Wall Street, what we call institutional investors, right? So this is basically like investors with millions and billions of dollars, normally banks or financial institutions, right? Or hedge funds. Like these institutional investors have lobbyists, right? So they have people on Capitol Hill right now, like lobbying politicians for, either deregulation or more regulation or like whatever's going to like benefit their pockets, right? So best believe, like, I don't care what congressman is coming out talking about saying, hey, it's unfair what Robinhood did. There's a lobbyist at their door with 500K right now. Like, look, we need you to reverse course.
I'm gonna send this 500K to your PAC, your super PAC, get you reelected. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. So,
like, I know we don't like to kind of mention it anymore because of like what came out, but House of Cards like gave him like
House of Cards was the shit,
bro. Like, I know Kevin Spacey is a huge creep, but like you watch it, you like, oh shit, like politics is dirty.
And it was accurate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. Yeah. So I mean, you like think of something like House of Cards. I mean, that's literally what's going on. Like you got somebody who's the majority whip or whatever, and he has a bunch of lobbyists going meet with him, third party guys with pockets full of cash talking about some, look, we need this law passed. You know what I'm saying? And so it'll be really interesting because again, it was two sides of the coin. It actually was some hedge funds that made money on GameStop. Wow. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, even though the major push was like mainly retail investors, for GameStop to move its stock price 800% in 1 week, that wasn't just retail investors. Like, it was some institutional big guys,
they got up in there,
so man, it was a crazy week just analyzing all of the different parts, and I'm kind of glad I didn't actually invest because I was able to kind of observe everything that was going on from a bird's eye view and not have any type of emotion on it.
Right, exactly.
You know
be objective. So just be objective about it, looking at it. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, bro, it was a lot going on. I mean, honestly, it's probably still things to like kind of be unpacked on what happened, but I don't think that's the last time we're gonna see a run like that, to be honest.
Bro, let me get your thoughts. We gotta talk about LLC Twitter, who tweets always make me laugh. Something like, oh, you working 5 days a week, making $5,000, but yet like you could be in Jamaica, obviously pre-pandemic, be Jamaica for 6 months, like, but you're not LLC, you're not on my level, you wouldn't understand, like, just
you work a 9 to 5?
Like, ew, like, who are you? Peasant. Like, can you talk about LLC Twitter and just like just it makes me laugh, and usually like I end up just blocking them because I was like, I don't got time for this. Like, but
man, LLC Twitter, man. I have a love-hate relationship with LLC Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like start with the good, right? So I think the general notion of LLC Twitter is to hopefully empower people, right? Like empower people on the possibilities that are out there, right? I think there are some good anecdotes that come through LLC Twitter that, you know, you may be like, hey, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, I never thought about that. Let me, you know, try to do X, Y, Z. But there's an annoying side of LLC Twitter that honestly spreads so much misinformation around. It's like it gets overwhelming to like correct, right? So, you know, it's like, you know, I think I think the concept is great, but I think people abuse the real purpose of it, right? And a lot of people who are part of the LLC Twitter world, I feel like don't really know what the hell they're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, because I be seeing some wild shit on like taxes and businesses and oh, you gotta do X, Y, Z. I'm sitting in my head like, no, the fuck you don't. Like, it's like, you know, like no, you don't, and you can do that shit on your own for in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think for like sharing knowledge, I think if you kind of just like search LLC Twitter, like sometimes you'll like find some, you know, you'll like find some hidden gems, but you got to really take a lot of shit with a grain of salt, bro, because a lot of people will say some business related stuff and they don't know the first thing about running a business. So I would say, man, I mean, I like when people talk about LLC Twitter because like sometimes I get internally offended, but then I get their point.
Right, because you know, key, you're a part of LLC Twitter,
right?
Facts, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But it's become a like an epithet, you know what I'm saying, that's used as like to diss, and I don't like that part of it because I'm not a part of it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a regular, you know, 9 to 5 dude like everybody else. But you know my dad, you know my dad a businessman, which kind of always worked for himself. So I always kind of got a respect for somebody that just kind of say, you know, I'm gonna take the risk, take my own little money, and go and try to make something for myself. I just got a lot of respect for that, and I understand the vision long term because, especially us, you know, black people in this country, we didn't show up in 16, 19, or we didn't show up. We weren't able to build this like mass foundation of wealth, that lasts for families and families and pass down, $500,000 to our children so they could go ahead and start off on a solid footing, and then it becomes just a butterfly effect for the rest of their generations, their kids and the grandkids and so on. We kind of got I can't say we started from beginning. We had to start from behind and kind of build up. So I see the vision. You know what I'm saying? I see the vision that all these people that's finally started to get a little money and starting to say, hey, I wanna flip this money, turn this into something. I'm not, no ceilings, million, billion, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, there's kind of some fundamentals that go with this. Like you can't scheme your way to it. It's not a scheme. It's not a hustle. It's just like there's fundamentals to this game that needs to be played.
Yeah.
So
bro.
So I know I respect it, but as you as an entrepreneur, young black entrepreneur, own your own business. Like, what are your like? What can you tell people out there that's just sitting there thinking like, I got all these things I want to do. I want to start my own business, but I'm scared. I might not have enough money for this. I might not have enough money for that. Like, what do you tell them? How did like you made that jump? You worked for a company, you worked for a big corporation before, and then you just say, you know what, I ain't doing that. I'm gonna do everything on my own. Like what? How do you do that? Like how did you make that decision?
Man, honestly, it like really kind of starts, man, with first finding your passion, right? So for me, luckily, like I've always been like math inclined, numbers inclined, like that. Like it just made sense to me. Like it made logical sense. Like even from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I never had any problems with anything math related, whether it was algebra or whatever geometry. Like everything made logical sense, and that comforted me, right? So I majored in finance all through school. Didn't really know what I was going to do because I mainly was focused on running track, right? Graduated from Southeastern, and then I went to Clark Atlanta, man. And honestly, going to Clark really changed my life because I was able to really be around black successful men.
Mm.
And like when I say successful, I mean like in like the business sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
being exposed to people who run their own businesses and have real estate and these type of things. And so I started to get a little curious. I'm like, okay, like entrepreneurship may be a route that I may want to dabble in at some point, but I'm not there yet. So for me, look, just like anybody else coming out of school, I go get a job. So I
Yeah.
so I worked in corporate finance, 5 years at Capital One. And that experience honestly prepared me to go out on my own and run a company, because essentially what I was doing at Capital One as a financial analyst was I was responsible for creating these budgets for these billion-dollar companies, bro. And like it
Mm.
was up to me to like, walk into a meeting and tell a VP, hey, like we only have $2 million in the marketing budget. You want to spend 2.5, you gotta make some cuts, right? And just kind of being around those people with high business acumen, like I started to like pull a lot of stuff, right? So for me, it was more of a natural transition because I was already kind of in that ownership type of role. So for me, the transition was a little bit easier because I was able to use those tools that I was learning from corporate America and take them in my own toolbox and go build my own,
Yeah.
shed. So, but I will like say for like the typical person, man, start off with a business plan, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to lay out your vision for you, right? Like that's going to lay out the demographic information that you need to understand. That's going to lay out the financial information, the operations, the logistics, the marketing. And if you really take that step to invest the time and or money to create an upfront business plan before you do anything, that's going to let you know if that business is worth investing in or not. And
Mm.
from there, it's like you said, building that strong foundation, man. The first four things anybody should do. Number one, create your LLC within your state, right? Two, get a federal tax ID. Those two things are like you gotta get those. And then
Yeah.
step three, you can use that information that you got from those first two steps and go open up a business bank account, right? And now, okay, now you actually have a business bank account that you can actually run business expenses through, right? Um, and then like once you kind of do those three steps and you have your business plan, now it's all about one, finding people or companies that are believing in your vision to, give you capital, or put up your own capital, or go to the bank and get a loan to have that startup capital that you need. Um, but your business plan to kind of like guide you on like where you'll be at certain points. So when you like think about the lifespan of most businesses, like that cutoff is about 3 years. Like most businesses don't make it past 3 years. If you make it past that 3 year mark, you really have a chance to be successful, because that means that, hey, you kind of weather the storm. You like put in the work, and now in year four you should be turning the corner because you have 3 years worth of experience on how to do things.
Mm.
So I think the main thing, honestly, man, is like, you kind of you gotta give yourself a chance first. I say start off with getting a professional business plan done. And then normally that first investment is going to fuel you to just be like, well, hey, shit, I already put money into it. Let me see it through.
Right.
That's great. That's great advice. Um, I I feel like we're just giving so much information to our listeners and gaining them information. Um, what is just kind of just a question? And this is, we're not trying to pump you for information and giving out any information for free. But like, what is something that you just tell our listeners, just with the whole pandemic and everything that's going on during it, like you said, it's approaching a year, which is absolutely fucking crazy. Um, just in terms of just overall, just their financials, right? Like, you know, our listeners span different ethnicities, different social economic classes, just general kind of, I hate to say blanket advice, but like which advice just to give to our listeners as a whole, just with everything going on right now in the economy and with the pandemic still being at its heights.
I think number one is that the pandemic definitely showed the importance of having a healthy emergency savings account.
Hmm.
Typically individuals should have anywhere between 3 to 6 months of their monthly expenses saved up in an account that they rarely touch. I think, that aspect is even more important today because of the volatility of the economy right now. Like we really don't know what's going to be next, like if there's going to be another shutdown or another wave of COVID coming through. Having a sound emergency savings account is going to save people a lot of headaches. And I think with the pandemic that was definitely proven. So I think that's the first thing. Um, the second is, don't be afraid to, kind of tap into different skill sets. One thing that we, definitely noticed throughout the pandemic is that, hey, like, people are multi-talented, right? Like, you may be working a job, but you may have other talents that you just haven't had time to like really tap into. So some of those hustles, can really turn into, really good second incomes. I know something that actually, kind of helped me out even when I was, uh, kind of like really getting my financial planning firm off the ground, especially after I left my job, man. I Ubered and I drove Lyft. I drove Lyft and I drove Uber for about 2 years. As I was growing my firm, like it was not pretty. Like I wasn't bringing in a lot of money. So I needed
Yeah.
to supplement that. And like things like that were okay. Hey, I can earn some money and still keep my time flexible. So that was more important to me.
Right.
But I think just the importance of continuing to really use our time and our gifts wisely, um, is like a big one. Having a healthy emergency savings account, and number three, tax planning, man. This is a big one because you know I've been fortunate to, especially in New Orleans, man. New Orleans is one of those heavy entrepreneurial cities, man. It's
Yes, it
crazy.
is. Yes.
So kind of being here, I've like really learned um s- some of the disadvantages that a lot of entrepreneurs have with having access to sound financial planning, sound financial accounting, and really understanding how taxes work, how government funding works, right? Like the PPP loans and the SBA loans, like putting yourself in position to qualify for that type of stuff. It's a lot that we need to continue to educate all people on in terms of financial literacy. So I would like definitely say, man, it's one thing is I would love to kind of see financial literacy be taught in every school.
Yeah.
Because these are practical things that we all need to understand at one point or like another.
Yeah, and speaking of financial literacy, I don't know if you still. I know it's been crazy with the pandemic. One thing you was doing, you partner, you partnered with a foundation that you guys were going out to different public schools in New Orleans and talking about financial literacy and all that stuff. What's up with that?
Yeah, man. So my partner Mia and I formed an organization called Project Learn, Initiate, Teach, and the acronym for it is Project Lit. And
Yeah.
we formed it back in 2018. And in 2019, that was our first year doing events. We did a 6-week business summer camp on the west side of New Orleans, and it was amazing, man. We had 75 kids, age range 13 to 16, for 6 weeks, and we taught them about personal finance. We taught them about
Mm,
money management. We taught them about business plans, how to create a business plan. We had guest speakers come in, so it was amazing, man, to just really kind of give that exposure to them, right? And I mean, hey, they may not use it right away, but they're
yeah.
gonna remember a lot of those tools, as they become adults, man. So it was a great first year, and we were going to actually do our second year um, during the camp, and then the pandemic happened, so we had to postpone it. But yeah, man, we're like looking to hopefully partner up with a couple of organizations within the city. We've had some talks with the New Orleans Pelicans on like doing a joint thing.
Mm,
So it's it has a lot of potential to really impact a lot of people, man, and really not even just kids. I mean, we want to be able to kind of give this type of knowledge free of charge to our adults as well. Whether you're someone who works 9 to 5, or someone who's a full-time entrepreneur, I think there are like certain financial concepts that everyone should be privy to. So I'm really glad that we're kind of in this information age right now, where information is so available to us that
yeah.
we don't really have excuses why we can't be financially sound.
No excuses. No excuses. Now, just to flip the script a little bit, bro. Like I grew up with you, bro. Like you, I remember back when I was just like I was a Saints fan, but I was a teenager, man. I'm trying to see, I'm trying to look, where the females at and all that. You know what I'm saying? But you, man, you knew every single. I'm talking about during the dark days of the Saints. You know what I'm saying? You knew every Saints player name, full name. You young, you like 8 years old. You knew every Saints player. You had the posters on the wall and all that stuff. So you were a diehard Saints fan going back all your life. Um, where we at, bro? The Saints, bro. Like it's a new day, dog.
Oh
Drew
man,
gone.
where we at? Oh, bro. I mean, man, we can really start from so many different angles, man. Because I mean, like you said, I'm a real Saints lifer, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, like I'm talking about before Aaron Brooks, all that. Like, you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like talking about the Michael Haynes days. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like it was,
man.
like we used to really have to go to Biloxi to watch the game because we couldn't sell out the damn game.
Yeah, could sell out the
That's wild.
blacked out, bro.
It was
Blacked out.
blacked out in the city, bro. Like that's how much of a fan I am, right? Like my dad and I used to drive to Biloxi, Mississippi, to
Woo!
watch the Saints game. That's how, because I mean, my dad was cheap. He didn't want to, pay the ticket to go to the game, so we drove to Biloxi to watch it.
Right.
But you know what, man? So honestly, bro, I really think, looking at our window, man, I feel like it's gonna be real tough right now. And I'm putting on my Mickey Loomis hat, right? And obviously, we're all fans of Mickeynomics,
Yeah.
pushing the can down the road.
Yeah.
And we've pushed that mug all the way
Woo,
down the road. Like it's
woo,
like by the golf right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at the salary cap, and I get nightmares, bro. Because I mean, even
man.
the pandemic, right? Like, it'll be different if like if we weren't in a pandemic, right? Like the NFL revenue is gonna get slashed.
Yeah.
So the salary caps are gonna get slashed. They're like talking maybe 20 to 30 million that we don't have already.
Right.
So it's I think it's gonna be some cuts, man. Like I honestly think it's gonna be some diehard Saints guys that we know and love that will not be back next year, and we're in like a weird space because we don't need to go into a full rebuild.
Nope.
Yeah.
But it's like like we really are working with our hands tied behind our back, and I don't know how much more kicking the can down the road we can do at this point.
Mickey said we're gonna find out.
So I'm a little concerned, man. Like I have never been concerned, honestly, in any off season until now. Even like last year, I felt we was good. Like I know Mickey, I know what he's gonna do with the salary cap. I know whose contract he's going to restructure. I don't see a clear path to NFC Championship right now. Yeah, that's my honest thoughts. It hurts me to say that, but I just don't see it right now. Like somebody's got to go. Like I don't, like it's like at this point, NFC South champions. That's not enough.
But the shirt. That's what the shirt said. The shirt said the South wasn't enough 2 years ago, and it sure was enough. I think this is the way I've seen it, and I see it going forward, is they have tough decisions to make in regards to players, and that's what happens when the team drafts really well, and it's kind of like the benefit of having an awesome draft class like they did in 2017. Like now that's kind of come to so, because now like the bills do, like
they'll do, baby.
when you hit on great rookies, the greatness about having great rookies is they're cheap, but when they get to their fourth year, fifth year, it's like, gotta pay up.
Yep.
So they got a decision to make on Trey Hendrickson. They got a decision to make on Marcus Williams, Ryan Ramczyk, Marshawn Lattimore. They got the fifth-year options, but they may look to maybe getting them extended early if that saves them money, like in a short term. But at the end of the day, it just like, this is what I told Ryan, I believe in the last podcast we recorded, is I very much see that this current Saints team, not, from kind of top to bottom, is very similar to how Tampa Bay was last year. Tampa Bay got a quarterback. Now they're playing the Super Bowl, and like that was their missing piece. Now, if the Saints roll out Jameis, listening to Sean Payton this week he kind of did the window wiper of doing the interviews and all that. It seems like they really want to bring Jameis back, and more than likely he'd be the starter if he is back. But like if Jameis is back. And I'm just asking this just in general. This is not me being a Jameis hater. How many games do the Saints win next year if Jameis is a starting quarterback with kind of like the similar team around him? And the thing is, like, we don't know. Like, that's the thing about Jameis. Like, that's the beauty about him. Like, we have no clue.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Jameis now, I think we can make the playoffs with Jameis for sure. So I'm a Jameis fan. I think we can definitely make the playoffs. I think it's something about getting in the playoffs, right? That something isn't clicking. And I mean, and I mean, we can like, kind of throw Drew under the bus with his, his like arm and stuff like that. But it's a little deeper than Drew. And I mean, I even want to kind of maybe call out Sean. Like,
let's go.
Some of the coaching decisions.
Let the top say, here it comes. Let's go.
I mean, even like some of the coaching decisions just sometimes are head scratchers, and I mean, just like with personnel stuff, like, you got it's like, second and 5 and Alvin Kamara just got 5. Yeah, man, run the goddamn ball. Clearly we're, moving the ball, but things like that, man, seem like Sean's ego kind of or
Yep.
like his like judgment kind of gets in the way sometimes.
Yep.
And so I mean, I don't even know if like, what I'm saying, it's a player thing at this point. Like we have a real mental block, whether it's coaches, coaching philosophies or something. I mean, it works well in a regular season, but for whatever reason, we can't finish the job. So I don't know. I do think we're gonna make the playoff next year, but I mean, it's like kind of hard to see a
Are
path
Yeah, man.
to that to
This is
that
hard to know. It's
that
hard to know. It's
championship.
like I think with Jameis, it's like if okay, I mean, I see a lot of Saints fans putting a lot on Sean Payton's shoulders. Like Sean Payton gonna fix him. I'm like, man, look, this dude that played 5 years as a starter and college, and we know who he is.
He is who he is.
He's who he is. Like he's a talented quarterback. He's smart, and he's aggressive, a little too aggressive, and and he just does some dumb things sometimes. Like I think that's gonna be the case. I think I think his interceptions won't be as bad if he starts with the Saints for a full year.
Of
I
course.
don't think he's going to throw 30 interceptions. But he's going to be on a mid-range, like, 15, 16
Yes,
interceptions.
for sure.
Oh yeah,
And he's going
absolutely.
to give us touchdowns. He's going to give us big plays. But I think he's going to have, like, the 4 or 5 games where it's like, man, what you doing, bro? Like, Jameis, what you doing, though? Like, you know what I'm saying? I just think that's who he is. Because, at Florida State, he was the same way. Like, you have a couple of games, it's like, Jameis, what are you doing, bro? And I just think that's what it is. And and if you get to the playoffs, it is what it is. Maybe you got 2-3 games to play. But if you could string together just a run, like Saints just need a run,
A
man. Like
run, bro.
they need to be like the best team going into January, and they just have not year after year. They haven't been the best team.
Did you know on Twitter I saw that the last season of the Saints won more than one playoff game was the year they won the Super Bowl?
God damn,
Like how wild is that?
that's crazy, dog. Like for a coach like Sean Payton, everybody consider him like a top 5 coach. Just for that, and you have Drew Brees all them years, like that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. It's just like Jerel said, like something ain't right. Like something ain't right about that. Like something is missing.
It is. Let me ask Real this. Kind of being a Saints fan, but kind of like a financial advisor who considers like risk and all that. If you haven't, this is just completely hypothetical. I have no inside information. Doubt it ever happens. But if the Saints could somehow convince the Texans to trade them Deshaun Watson, let's say it took Michael Thomas and 4 first-round picks for a long-term future-wise, would that trade offer be a wise future investment for the Saints, in your opinion? Being a fan and also a financial advisor.
The fan in me, absolutely. Now the financial advisor side, I would try to not send 4 first-round picks. I would try to see if we could do 2, but
if Houston says it got to be 4, and then we talking like just steadfast.
Nah, I'm not like giving up 4. Like I just feel like you're just handicapping your franchise, and I wouldn't give up 4. Now, would I maybe give up another player in addition to 2 or 3? Yes, but I feel like 4 first round draft picks.
You give up AK?
No, AK is untouchable.
Is he though? Is he?
AK is untouchable, dog.
That's a hard one though. It's a hard one, bro.
I mean, bro, we don't like he's literally like, I feel like this generation's Marshall Faulk. You know what I'm saying? Like just do it all. Like it's not even about him being able to run for 1,500 yards. The motherfucker gets us 2,000, 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving. Like if like we know that nobody's open, we can still dump it to AK, and you don't know what's gonna happen. He might take it for 10 or he might take it for 80. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like he's our safety valve, right?
He is. But I'm just saying, in the sense of the NFL, even if AK is this year's Marshall Faulk, and I'm the biggest AK fan you would find, how far does a player like that get you in the playoffs? Like ultimately, because my counterpoint is that if you don't have the quarterback, it doesn't really matter.
Good point, because I think we
tough.
noticed that with Taysom and AK did not have good chemistry. It was bad. I mean,
it was close, man.
I mean, they
chemistry.
they literally tanked my whole fantasy league when Drew got
Bruh.
hurt. It was a wrap. I had AK.
Have you ever been, maybe haven't, but like you ever been on a date with someone and like during the date you just block them and the date's not even over, like you like I'm never like like that's how bad their fucking chemistry was, bro. Like it was terrible.
Man, it was horrible. So I definitely feel you on that. But I would say AK is untouchable right now. Now, obviously that can change. I think if we had a Deshaun Watson, we don't need a Mike Thomas.
Right. Yes, I 100% agree with you there. Yes.
So I'm like cool if like that was the trade-off, because I do think, Sean has a knack for finding receivers late round, undrafted, who could come in and actually execute the offense. Like they don't have to be like all world. They just need to be able to execute the offense, right?
Right.
So I would say, man, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, I feel
got
like
you thinking
everybody can go. I probably wouldn't trade, and I mean, I may get some slack for this. I wouldn't trade Lattimore either.
You wouldn't trade Lattimore for Deshaun Watson, like in a deal?
Bro, I
said I wouldn't. I said I wouldn't. Like if I had to give up Lattimore for him, I probably wouldn't.
I'll get Lattimore ass. I'll drive Lattimore to fucking for myself, boy.
I'll be on the 110 so fast, bro. Yep. Nigga, you got your bag? Let's go.
Bro, I feel like as Saints fans, we forget so fast.
Come on. Like, I get it.
We don't remember the Jason Davids.
Bro,
I get it. Shit, he tore up Aaron Rodgers though. Shout out to Jason.
But look, listen, I'm Jason David, Fred Thomas.
Brandon Browner.
Oh my God!
It's like, man, but just that quarterback position, though, boy.
All right, Rel. Can you name me the Chiefs starting cornerbacks in the Super Bowl?
Whoo! The Chiefs starting cornerbacks.
List them out.
Brandon Carr. He's on one of them.
Is it? No, I don't think so.
Brandon Carr been in the league.
Don't think so.
He's like 30 years. I think he's one of them.
He's not a starter. No, he is not one of the starters. No.
Oh shit. Well, I don't know.
Come on, man. But can you name the starting quarterback of the Chiefs?
Oh yeah, Chad Henne.
I'm saying he did win a playoff game.
He did. Before we let you go, I want to talk about Craig, man. I know, I mean, obviously, probably right now with the pandemic, it's not open. But when it does open, it sounds like Ryan and I have an invitation to come and host a live show. I'll be enjoying mini Cadillac margaritas as we're recording.
You don't get out here with margaritas and shit.
Have you had a Cadillac margarita? Do you know what a Cadillac margarita is?
Get you a real drink, nigga.
A Cadillac margarita is a male's drink. Thank you very much. Fuck you. Anyhow, as I was saying, talk to me about Craig.
Yeah, man. So this was actually an idea that actually birthed during the pandemic, right? So I came across a spot on the West Bank of New Orleans in Gretna. It was a neighborhood bar. Actually had ties to the owner as well. So Went to him. He was looking to sell, and the timing was all right for me in terms of like, hey, you know, I don't have to open it right now, like, but I want to renovate it and just, you know, kind of have a nice, grown and sexy spot on the West Bank. We don't really have that, so spent most of the pandemic renovating it. It's beautiful. You know, so we're like ready to go as soon as the governor opens us up. But it's gonna be a grown and sexy, you know, bar / lounge, a lot of good seating, a lot of great lighting, and you know, it's gonna be really good for things like networking events, mixers, podcasts, things like that. So we would definitely love for you guys to come in, host a show,
Let's
maybe
go.
videotape it, man. You know, create the ambiance and yeah, man, it'll be really dope. So you guys have that invitation whenever you're ready.
Man, would y'all just wear y'all masks, social
Oh,
distance, do whatever you gotta do so we could get this shit out the way.
come on,
So we can
man.
go back to normal. I can go to Crave. I could, you know what I'm saying? We gonna have our podcast, bring the whole Saints Twitter. So bring the whole Saints Twitter to
Oh,
Crave.
bro.
And just do it up. Everybody know from Saints Twitter being there, and we just act a fool talking Saints, just clowning. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want to see, man. So
Unless
hopefully everybody.
unless you're blocked, like you're still invited, but please don't make it weird when you talk to me. I appreciate that.
That's your problem. That's your problem, bro. That's your problem. You gonna have half the people up in Crib block.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah, but no, man, that would be great. And so I'm actually going to be starting a podcast soon as well.
Oh
It's going to
shit.
be called Aggressive Intelligence.
Okay.
You know, and we're going to be covering, you know, similar topics that we're covering right now. So it's going to be business focused, but for the culture, you know. So we're going to be talking about a lot of relevant things to that like matter to everyday people as it pertains to money, finances, business, culture, and really kind of fusing all of that together to kind of, you know, just like really be a great resource for people to, you know, kind of be to be their best selves, man. So so yeah, we're going to be hosting that from Crave as well, probably starting next month. So but I mean, we'll have the couches warm for you guys whenever you guys want to come down and you know, kind of do a session, man. Guys want to bring on some special guests, whatever you want to do, you know, we'll love to have you guys.
Love it, Brian. I just wanted to, you know, plug Millennial Financial Solutions again. Like I said, you know, full disclosure, there is some bias. Jerel is my cousin, but knowing him all his life, good dude, honest dude, God-fearing man, family man, got a child on the way,
Congrats,
just
bro.
somebody I trust. Like I trust very few people, but like with my finances or whatever, I know I can go to him and it's me and him. You know what I'm saying? It's me and him talking about finances, telling him the low down and dirty of my finances. You know what I'm saying? So, you could trust Jerel if you want to do some financial planning, deal with your taxes, business planning, all that stuff. I vouch for him. And like you come to me if you got a problem, like, because I know that Jerel, he's a stand-up dude. So, definitely check that out. Check out, whenever Crave Lounge. If you follow me, I'm definitely gonna promote it. You can follow Rel. Put out your Twitter, Rel.
Sure, y'all. So my Twitter, well, wait, what the hell is my Twitter name? I'm trying to
Really,
change that
really,
shit.
really underscore Rel 7. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Like some, you know, hood name that I ain't never changed. So it's yeah, really underscore Rel 7, as Ryan said. I'll probably update it at some point, but I'll keep that for right now. Instagram is J Butler 718. That's my personal Instagram. You can also follow my business page on Instagram as well, Millennial Financial. Millennial has 2 L's and 2 N's in it. That's a common misconception.
Boy, I'll
Two
be
L's and two
struggling. I'll
N's
be
in
struggling, though. I
it.
Bro,
can't lie.
you know how many times I looked at Jerel's email address you sent me? Like, wait, is this right?
Right. So yeah, guys, you can follow me on social media at Millennial Financial. We're always posting finance tips every week. We're doing insightful videos about what's going on. I'm going to release a video on the whole GameStop thing next week, and a couple of other things as well. So yeah, man, we're like all about providing free content where we can. I believe, content should be free for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like just kind of being able to give that information back to everybody. Now, you're going to pay for the 1% if you need me to do something. But that 99%, we like to kind of give all that out to the people and do as you will with it. But and also you can follow Crave Lounge on Instagram as well and Twitter. The handle is the same, Crave with a K, KRAVE Lounge NOLA. And that's the Instagram and the Twitter. So if you guys are in New Orleans at any point post-pandemic, hopefully, and kind of want to come in, vibe out, catch a drink, have some nice vibes, definitely swing on us.
Ooh, let's go.
Let's go, man. Rel, appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot, especially regarding the stock market. We, loved having you on. Great, insightful conversation. We want to get, at some point for sure, get you on again. Hopefully post-pandemic, we'll be in there in Crave and get you on again just to talk about, whatever, man. But it's a pleasure having you on. Please, if you're listening, follow Rel on Twitter, follow him on Instagram, follow Crave, follow Millennium Financial. Rel, we appreciate you coming on, man. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely, Adam. I definitely appreciate the invite, man. We'll definitely do this again. Maybe when some Saints news pops off or something like that.
Yeah,
kind of coming in debate if Mechanomics is still a thing.
Listen, we can go to have some dark times, boy. It's cold out here.
we go see what's out there.
Winter is coming.
Shit, it's here.
Shit,
White Walker,
here.
the contracts of Brandon Browner and Jerris Bird about to pull up like a White Walker, just right on Metairie on air live.
Man. Not Jerris Bird. Oh, man.
We're gonna get you out of here, man. Thanks so much for coming on, Rel. We really appreciate it. Everyone else, we'll have more content coming as always. At some point, I guess when the Super Bowl happens this Sunday, Ryan and I will talk about it. But as always, we got more content coming. We're going to do another prospect breakdown. We're going to get a poll up. I'm going to put it up probably tonight in regards to who you guys want us to watch for college prospects for the draft. And with that, we're going to get out of here. With that, we're out.
Peace.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly.